10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Good evening. Right, I'll get straight to it. This is a slight retort video, if you would, to Adrikos's video on Saturday night about finance, and then on Monday, ArchieLuxury made a couple of videos talking about how the lower middle class guy affords a luxury watch. Right, now this is sort of an interesting one for me, because you've got two guys here that sort of almost at the opposite ends of the spectrum. I mean, Archie I can relate to, he's about the same age as me, even though he calls me my boy, right? Which is odd, Archie, because let's be fair, Andy should be calling us my boys, right? Because let's be fair, Archie, you and I could be the illegitimate children of Adrikos. And we all know, and don't deny it, Andy, we all know that you're really 64-year-old. You've just got a very good plastic surgeon, right? So, you know you've spread your Greek seed all over the world, or so you'd have everybody fucking believe. So there. Right, anyway, back to the thread. So, finance. How do we go about finance? Right, it's as simple as this. Finance is fucking finance because, well, we need it, because we're greedy, we've got to have something. I want a watch. I'm offered 3 years finance for it. I couldn't find it second hand at half price, so I went and got it on 3 years tick. Okay, now a lot of people disagree with that. That's absolutely fine. That's the way a lot of people do it. Okay, the same way you buy a car. You go out, you trade your old car in, you take the rest of the money on credit. Would fucking love to be in a position where I could have chucked 15,000 quid in cash at a car, or 5, 6, 7 grand in cash at a watch. The fact is, the reality is that not many people are in that position, and I'm not saying that what Andy says is wrong. I'm absolutely not saying that. If you have that sort of money, good for you. But 90% of people don't, and they will take credit for their new car, maybe even credit for a new watch. Some people come on, let's be fair. Some people go and get credit for a fucking sofa. Right, now that is a bit ridiculous, but hey, everybody at their own. And yeah, you can get better deals for paying cash, I'd expect. Not something I've really done much of. And there's an old saying, isn't there? It's free or cheaper to those who can afford it, and expensive to those who fucking can't. So, if you need 3 years interest-free credit, or 3 years credit for a fucking sofa at 1,000 quid, you can end up paying 3 grand. I mean, if you've got the fucking £1,000, you can go in there and get it for 800 quid. So it's cheaper if you can actually afford it, and expensive if you can't afford it. And that's fucked, really. That's capitalism for you, isn't it? Yeah, so, Archie, another thing. Going back to Archie and saying how does a lower middle class guy, working class guy, let's be fair, working class people call themselves lower middle class, don't they? We'll fucking do it. I've done it myself, eh? How do we afford a watch? Well, a lot of guys actually do what you do, or did, and that's just you started sort of buying watches at 21, in their early 20s, and you've sort of flipped and traded up and saved a bit more, and 20 years later you've got a couple of gold Rolexes. Great. I've been in the sort of expensive watch game for about 6 months, and it's difficult, and it's funny, it's just popped into my head this. I bought that watch on credit because I couldn't. Somebody said, well, wait until you saved up to buy it cash, and I bought it on credit, and I thought, do you know what, it's just popped into my head. I bought it on credit because somebody said, well, get it now, you could be dead next week. And you know what, see, when I bought that watch, I had a head-on car crash the next again week, and I could have very well been dead. Just funny how that's just popped into my fucking head. That sort of deflated me a little bit. So yeah. So where was I saying? So Archie, you've bought your watches and you've traded up, great. But for a majority of us who are just getting into it now, it's difficult. It's even more difficult if you've got a wife and child or children, because they're expensive. I mean, fuck me dead. I mean, I'm embarrassed. I wouldn't want to tell you what my shopping bill was this morning when we went shopping, and what the actual fuck. And then, you know, you take the wee one to Clark's and get a pair of shoes, and they're 40 fucking quid, and you think, Jesus, they're to last her from now to when she breaks up for the summer holidays in fucking June. You know what I mean? 40 quid for a pair of bloody school shoes. They're already fucking scuffed. She's only had them on 3 days. Man, kids are expensive. Wives are expensive. They're also, what wives are more than anything else, it's not the expense of them. It's the fact that they're a fucking stumbling block half the time. And let's be fair, right? You might have all the fucking money in the world. See, sometimes, justifying the money you want to spend on a watch just can't be done. I've talked to my wife about the watch that I'm after. How much is that? Oh, it's about £5.5 grand. How much? It's about £5.5 grand. And then she says the one thing that you know means the absolute opposite. She said, well, get it if you want. And you think, what she really means is, you get that and I'll fucking divorce you. Oh well. I suppose I'd have to fucking pay for that as well, Right, I'm getting out of here. Cheery.